Now the next few training videos assume that you have access to a SharePoint server. Okay, first of all, what is SharePoint? Well, SharePoint is a Microsoft software program that is installed on a server, which is accessible anywhere there's internet connection, but only to those whom you give permission to. Now there's two ways you can go about setting up SharePoint. You can either hire an IT person, get the server and the software, SharePoint, and have them set it up, username, passwords, settings, or you can go ahead and search the internet and find a company that will host SharePoint and have it set up for you. And all you have to do is just go ahead and set up the username and password, keep it pretty simple. Of course, that's going to be a monthly fee. In any case, you can check all that out. But for this training video, I have it already hosted by a company that I'm using here, so I don't have to go through all the trouble setting it up. And the purpose of these next few training videos is that, assuming it's already set up, this is what you can do with it, okay? So I have this document here for this training video, and we're going to be doing what's called co-authoring with SharePoint. It means that I can upload this document and have the settings set or changed to where anybody else who accesses this document can actually access it at the same time that I'm working on it. In fact, you can have 2, 3, 4, a lot of people access this document simultaneously. So any changes they make, when I click Save, will bring over those changes and I can see it, and vice versa. So let me go ahead and go to my SharePoint site by coming down here and opening up Internet Explorer, and then coming up here in the URL and typing in the address http:// start typing in share. There it is. Because I've been to the site before, sharepoint.kkershaw.com, you can see it's in the list down below that I can just go ahead and click on it and it takes me right to it. So I have my username already displayed there. If I didn't, I'd type it in, and then just all I have to do is go ahead and type in the password. And then go ahead and select Remember My Credentials, click Okie dokie, and it logs me in. Cool. Now, in short, SharePoint, well, it's just like a website. Welcome to your site. And you've got all these links where you can go ahead and share documents, also create other libraries like essential oils and share documents there. In any case, we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to go to the Share Documents folder here. And here are all the documents that I'm sharing, and I can add new documents. But before I do that, I want to come up here on the Contextual tab for the Share Documents folder and go to the Library, click on that. Because over here in the Settings group, I'm going to go ahead and click on Library Settings. And the reason why that you want to go ahead and change your versioning settings for the Shared Documents folder here, you can see where I'm at. There's my home page. There's the Documents folder. Here's the settings for the Documents folder. And I'm drilling down to the versioning settings, which we'll go over in the next training video. But there's a setting in the versioning settings that when I click on it, that will prevent me from sharing my documents simultaneously with 1, 2, 3, or gazillion other users, I suppose. I haven't tested a gazillion. And it's down here at the bottom. Right now, the default setting for the Shared Documents folder requires the document to be checked out, which means only one person can work on that document. If I want 2 or more people, then I have to say no checkouts required, because then you have to wait for that person to check it in for you to work on it, and then you check it in before somebody else can access it. Okay, set it to no. Go ahead and click OK. And now we change the settings for the Shared Documents folder. To get back to the Shared Documents folder, you can either come up here, of course there's the address, my home page, Shared Documents folder, and the settings for the Shared Documents folder. Click on that link, or just come over here in the navigation pane and click on Shared Documents. It doesn't matter. It takes me back to it. There's Shared Documents. Click on that. Same page here, okay? And now I can go ahead and work on any one of these documents here while somebody else is working on it simultaneously. But to show you how to go ahead and upload a document, if you want to upload documents to the SharePoint site, go ahead and click on the link, Add Document. Opens up the window and it says, okay, go out and browse and find the document on your computer that you want to upload to the SharePoint site. Click Browse. Go to my desktop, and then I come over here in the main window. A lot of large icons. Let me go ahead and shrink them up by clicking on the More Options drop-down arrow and say List. So all the icons get smaller, and that can fit into the window here. It's in my Exercises folder, as you recall. Double-click. And it's going to be my Coauthor SharePoint. Double-click. That's the document. There it is. It's the address pointing right to it. So when I click OK, it'll go ahead and upload it. And you want to keep an eye on this. It'll overwrite existing files. In other words, if there's another document in there with the same name, it'll overwrite it. So I'm not worried about it because this is the first time I'm uploading it. Click Okie dokie, and then give it a second while it uploads it. And there it is. Hey, it's new. Isn't that fancy? And it's pretty much that simplistic. If I want to go ahead and start working on my document, just click on the link and it'll open it up. But if I want to notify my coworker, Carrie, that it's now available, I can email her. And this is how you do it. Notice that when I hover over any one of these files, over to the left-hand side, it has a corresponding checkbox. I'm going to go ahead and check the box for this document. so I can bring up its related contextual documents tab, because over here in the Share and Track group, there it is, email a link, click on it, and it will want to access my Outlook program, which, is it safe? Do you trust it? Yeah, I'll go ahead and click Allow. Opens up the email, copies the link right to the document, the co-author document, into the body of the message. All I have to do is go ahead and address it to my coworker, K for Carrie, and there it is, the email. All I have to do is go ahead and hit the tab key and it populates in her email address, and then type in a subject, work, and then click send. And as you recall in an earlier training video, when I send it off, it just sits in my Outlook box, so I have to open up the Outlook program before it shoots it off. And I can do that by coming down here, clicking on the Start button, going up to find Outlook, clicking on it, opening it up, and there's my outbox. It's sitting right there, but give it a second or two and it'll shoot it off, and there it goes, off to Carrie. So let's go ahead and close out of that, and let me go ahead and click on the link to open it up, and I can do a read-only where I can't make changes to it, or I can go ahead and make changes to it by selecting Edit, clicking Okie dokie. Give it a second or two so it opens up, and then if it's the first time that you're opening up your document here, it should have a message bar up at the top that says, do you want to go ahead and enable editing? Click on the Enable Editing button so you can go ahead and make changes to it. Now here's some interesting things. Okay, so I've got my document that I'm pulling off from the SharePoint server right here, and I have my other document down below here. Now they both look the same, right? But there's one difference between the two, and notice the Save button. Compare that Save button back to the one that I downloaded from the SharePoint site, and notice that this one isn't like the other. It's got those little arrows. Those arrows mean refresh. So not only does it save the document, but it will refresh it with updates made by anybody else who made changes to it, okay? So there's one difference. Now I'm going to go ahead and have Carrie access the document here that's on the SharePoint server and show you some other subtleties here that are really helpful when it comes to co-authoring or sharing the document at the same time on SharePoint. Hey, look at that. Down below in the status bar, we have Carrie now editing or looking at the document. So I can click on that and say, okay, who's working on it now? It's me and Carrie. Let me click off. Now when she starts making changes to, let's say, the top paragraph here, let's have her change the word sky to whatever she wants. When she starts typing in text, because I'm linked to the same document through SharePoint, it'll go ahead and tie her name to that paragraph. What does that mean? Well, go ahead and hover over her name there, and it says, that little pop-up, to avoid conflicts, you cannot edit this area until Carrie finishes editing it and uploads it to the server. So after she's done making changes and hits the Save button, it'll upload it, and then I can go ahead and click on, well, it's a dual button. Not only does it save it, but it refreshes it. Because I have nothing to save, if I just click on that refresh button, which is the save button of course, it'll pull in her information here, the changes that she made, okay? So I can make changes to other parts of the document here and just wait for that to disappear. Or she can actually come down here, not save it, and work on other parts of the document, which is kind of annoying because if I come up here and I try to make any changes, I try to hit the delete key, I can't delete it, and notice up here on the ribbon it doesn't give me any formatting options, so she blocked me out. I can't make changes to that. So if she starts typing in all these paragraphs and not saving it, eventually she's going to keep me from making any changes. So I have to say, oh, look, just focus on one part here. I mean, if it's a huge document, probably not a big deal. Let me go ahead and have her make another change in the third paragraph, and when she starts typing in some text in there, notice how it pops open. Now she blocked me out from this paragraph as well. So it's like, gosh, it's like a game. Let me hurry and go make changes here, or tie a change to this paragraph before she takes control of it. Hopefully she'll make change and focus on one paragraph and then quickly upload it, okay? And the only way she can upload it is by hitting the Save button. So when she clicks on the Save button, as I'll tell her to do that now, notice next to her name you have the refresh symbol. It just means that you need to come up here and click refresh to be able to pull in those changes and to be able to access those paragraphs. And it gives a pop-up that says, hey, I've refreshed your document here and changes were made by another user. Go ahead and click Okie dokie. And the changes she made are in green. So from sky to clouds and from years to decade. So now I can come in here and make whatever changes that I want before she starts making changes in that paragraph there. And what's interesting is that these highlights will stay there until I close out and reopen the document. Or I notice that if I select it and I come up here in the font group on the Home tab and click on the highlighter drop down arrow and say no color and then click Save, it removes the highlights. Now, what would happen if we did run into a conflict? Because there is that latency time between her changes and my changes. I mean, the internet isn't as fast as we can be when it comes to typing in stuff, so I'll go ahead and have her make a change, and I'll quickly make a change, and let's see what happens when there is a conflict. I'll quickly type in sky, or sky there. And what's interesting is that it takes some time when she starts typing for the document here that I have on my computer across the internet to be able to refresh and say, hey, I'm going to lock you out so you can't make changes here. Well, too late. I was faster than what the internet could calculate, and so I started making changes. You can kind of see the outline here of, I think, of the name that was going to pull up Carrie, that she's already started making changes to it, and because it wasn't fast enough, couldn't lock me out. So let me go ahead and have her click save, and then I'm going to come up here and click save, and let's see what happens. And there we go. Up here in the message bar it says, hey, the file needs to be refreshed with updates because she made a change. And if I go ahead and click save and click OK, it tells me that the upload failed because there's conflicts with changes made by another user. So let's look down here. I changed it to sky, and the highlighted green is what she put in. So I have my change and we've got hers. Let's go ahead and resolve it. Click on resolve, and over here in the task pane it says, okay, these are the changes that you made. Do you want to go ahead and accept your change or reject it and keep the change that she made? Come up here and click on reject my change. Well, when I click on reject once, it highlights my change. Let me click on it again, and then it gets rid of it. And then I can go ahead and click on save and close and accept her change. Otherwise, I could accept my change, but it'll still leave her change there, so I'll still have night sky. I'll just have to go back and delete night and leave my sky there, okay? So the accept and reject changes only affects the changes that you've made when there's a conflict, not changes that Carrie made or somebody else. For example, if I come up here on the review tab, and I'm like, let me go ahead and go to the next change, there's nothing to change. It won't see the changes that the other person made, only the changes that you made if there's a conflict, okay? Then when I'm finished, all I have to do is go ahead and click save and close out. Of course, my original document on my computer is still there. Let me go back to my SharePoint site, refreshes the screen, and there it is. And you can see that it was last modified by Carrie. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.